Ladies and gentlemen, don't know how this will work as far as my service is concerned because I am in North Carolina at Gardner Webb. My son and his friend up here for soccer, and it's early in the morning. But if I film a video and then I try to upload it, it's a bit too hard. So I just decided I'll record it live, even though nobody is up. And so, and I remember one time I did this and it was one person on there. And so y'all understand that I'm not actually live, I'm just recording, so that way I don't have to record it then try to upload it, because it'll never upload if I try to record it then upload it on this regular service. Got to be on Wi-Fi with the YouTube app to really get it to work. Check it on my son real quick. But wanted to pop on here because, you know, I have the Small Business Saturday videos going up, but being that I'm out here and I'm up, I figure I'll do a live one and then we'll push the interview back. That'll give us a little stretch. And if you're in Tony Gaston's Academy, if you're on the mailing list, then I may open that back up here soon for those of you who are a student in the Academy and have taken the Entrepreneurship with Purpose course, and you have a book or company or coaching service or something like that, you are eligible for the Small Business Saturday interviews. So I typically just send an email out to those students first, and that's how those interviews happen. But as you see, it's a lot going on right now in our country, and it's just now starting in America, and you don't know what all is going to happen. One thing that I found, that I realized, is these politics is so divisive. Me personally, I'm like, I see people like God in the sense of no respect of persons, meaning no favorites. Like, I analyze and evaluate everybody the same. And you had a good, you had a bad, you had a ugly. It's good in everybody, it's bad in everybody. And so I just call it like I see it. But I noticed that with most humans, it's like gang lines. It's like Bloods and Crips. It's like if they like Trump, then bump everybody else. If they like another politician, bump everybody else. And that's a very limited way of thinking. And it's also idol worship. Like, every single person, all of us should be able to be critiqued. And all of us should be able to be seen for the good and the bad. And that's still left to be said. And then I also have an abundant mindset, meaning I don't believe anyone is my competition. I don't believe anyone can take my job. I don't believe anyone can take my place, because if you don't have my fingerprint, then you can't beat me at being me. You can't do me. There's nothing that you could do or that you can say that can intimidate me about my purpose and my place on this earth. And so people being excited and happy about people being deported, that makes absolutely no sense to me. And I don't believe that that God's land belongs to anyone. And that was also the belief system of the Native Americans, who America was stolen from. They didn't believe in owning land. And so that's how people came in and decided they would take it and claim it. And so what humans have done is taken God's earth and turned it into a business. So selling God's land, selling God's water, selling God's air, selling everything that God created free, it's now a business. And whoever get to it first, or whoever got the most muscle or the most conniving ways, that's who gonna get it. And so you have to understand the world that we live in, and you got to understand what you up against. And you got to be able to shift your mind from consumerism to production. And you have to identify your natural gifts and what you do naturally. And every single day, you got to take a minimum of 30 minutes and dream. Just in stillness, in peace and quiet, let your mind roam so that you can envision things that you could be doing. One thing I have found is business is not easy. Entrepreneurship is not easy. Creating is not easy. And there are some people who are gifted at it and it comes easy to them. And there are some people who their brain, because it hasn't had to work that way, they are completely lost and confused. I notice when I work with college graduates, a lot of them, if I give them an assignment, they can do the assignment 12 out of 10. But if I give them a project and I say create this from scratch, they are a -5 out of 10. And it's so interesting to me to see how the brain works and how whatever part of your brain that you feed, that you work with the most, it's gonna get stronger. And whatever you're not working with the most, it's not going to work. So if you're a parent and you got kids, one of your things, if your brain is shot and you need to sign up for business consulting, then do that. But one thing you need to do with your children every summer is buy them a dream notebook and have them create a business. Say, hey, I want you to create a business. Think of something that, a way you're gonna make money, something that you're gonna make, something you're gonna create. Your daughter, and start as young as they can talk. Your daughter and understand, might be 4 years old. She might say, Mama, I'm gonna sell rainbow unicorn dolls. Let her do it. Okay, how you gonna sell it? What you gonna name the company? Rainbow Beauty. Who you gonna sell it to? Well, you gonna buy one, Mama? I'm gonna sell it to you. Okay, who else you gonna sell it to? Grandma. And let her think, okay, what color? All right, you gotta make a logo. What's the logo, Mama? Tell her what it is. Show her McDonald's logo. Show her favorite Target logo. Say, okay, draw one of these. It's your sign. Let her draw, let her color, him, whichever way. And start to develop that, because what a lot of people forget is that school was started by the Rockefellers now. School was started by industrialists, people who created these factories because they wanted to own the world and make all the money. They needed humans who could think and act like a robot to go into these factories. So that's why when you go to school, it's shaped and structured like it is. There's a start time, there's a class time, there's a bell, there's a transition time from one class to the next. There's another class time. There's a lunch period. And that's how you are trained. And you taught information that you have to, quote unquote, learn, but then regurgitate on a test. And when you go work at a job, it's the same thing. You get there, you get meaningless information that does nothing for you in your life. You have to remember that information. You have to execute on that information. And then there's a time period. You have to have your work turned in by a certain date or a certain time. You get a break. You get to go to lunch. Notice that your lunch is a timed lunch. You don't have just unlimited time to be at lunch. When that lunch break is up, you go back to work and you got to finish your task. The workforce is just like the school system. But in entrepreneurship, when you are a creator, there is no set time. There's no set time for your lunch. There's no set time for your project. There's no parameters for your projects. You have to create from scratch. You got to be creative. You have to know how to problem solve. You got to use deductive reasoning. The things that you learn pieces of in school, you're going to have to use that in entrepreneurship. But it's going to be a whole lot more that you're going to have to do. And some of it will have nothing to do with American history, with biology, anatomy, algebra 2, trigonometry, calculus. It'll have nothing to do with it. You got to know how to read, you got to know how to write, or you got to know how to speak, and that's how you're going to be able to sell. And that's what you got to do. But when you in Entrepreneurship with Purpose course, and I'm going to tell you something about this entrepreneurship stuff, is when you start to listen to your mind, you'll start to create. You will create proprietary processes that no one else can think of, because the house you grew up in, the city you grew up in, the people you grew up around, all of that shaped your mind. The name you give your proprietary process, everything you do, it will shape your process. But what we have been taught is to look outward instead of to look inward. So everybody looks at somebody else for an example, instead of looking inward and letting your history and your biography create your blueprint. So you have to do things based on your personality. A lot of people will get on these software and these systems and not realize that the workflow of the software and the systems was created by the mind of that creator. If the creator has autism or is somewhere on that spectrum, his or her mind is very, very unique and works completely different than yours. So that's why when I tried to use ClickFunnels, I've signed up twice for ClickFunnels. It is the most stressful, annoying, ignorant piece of software I've ever used. And you got to hire somebody to set it up for you. So somebody who is on the spectrum created it. And I'm not saying that in a derogatory way. People who are on the spectrum are extremely smart. They genius in their own way. Like the guy they showed who he got in the helicopter and they took him across the New York skyline, and then when they got out the helicopter, he went in and he drew the whole skyline. Like somebody on the spectrum created ClickFunnels, and then you got to hire somebody else on the spectrum to set it up for you. Bump it. I'm all for it. And it costs $200 a month. The people who know how to set it up, they might charge you thousands of dollars a month. The people who use it make millions. Guess what? Didn't work for me. I create my own system. I use the stuff that was created by simpletons, people who know how to create something that's user-friendly and that's easy. So I went and used MailChimp for my mailing list. I used Thinkific for my online academy. Both of them create a very simple user experience to where me, who don't have all this tech knowledge and all this tech experience and all of that, was able to get on there and use it and earn millions of dollars. Just ABC, 1, 2, 3. And so you have to look within, and you got to identify how your mind works. And you got to realize that the way your mind works does not work like Mark Zuckerberg's mind. It don't work like Elon Musk's mind. So you have to use your mind. And there's a guy who I created Entrepreneurship with Purpose because I don't believe in taking in just making money. I believe in having purpose and having a sense of purpose in everything that I do. So I created the online course called Entrepreneurship with Purpose. And I just made up the outline in 5 minutes. and I just made it up from my spirit. Did not read a book, did not have a mentor, didn't do none of that. There's a guy named Patrick Flynn, Flynn. He has like the largest entrepreneurship podcast called Entrepreneur on Fire. I seen a video one time of him, like a little sample video. And this is, I don't know what he is, but this is the same thing that the people did to the Native Americans. That's what he took and did to me. This man got the largest podcast and Entrepreneur on Fire. And he show his money. He show what he made. So it's 10 years ago, man was making $125,000 a year. I mean a month. And then he created a course for entrepreneurs. And I watched a sample of the course, and the sample of the course was my proprietary process. I never sued him. I could have sued him and made millions probably. And in that, I taught, make a list of all your gifts. Your gifts are the things that you do naturally, the things that not everyone else can do just as well as you. Then make a list of all your passions. These are the things that you passionate about, but you might not be gifted at your passion, and you might not be passionate about your gift. Then you marry the two. You connect the dots between gifts and passions. You marry the two, then they have a baby, and that's your career. So if you gifted at writing and you passionate about teaching, when you marry writing with teaching, their baby is a self-help book. You see what I mean? And so people struggle. And so I created that just off the top of my head, just from the Holy Spirit. And this man stole it verbatim, said it verbatim. And you don't know how he did it? Because there was this site, there's a site called Udemy. Udemy, U-D-E-M-Y. They took and they recruited online teachers. But then they would take your course and they would sell your course for $9.97. So that's how he got my course, off Udemy. Because I became a Udemy partner and they promoted me. And they promoted me on the homepage, and they pushed a couple of courses I shot with them out there. And so that's how he got me information. And then he's a white guy, so he didn't want to say, hey, I got this from a black guy who was young and country named Tony Gaskins. And man, probably made millions off that course, teaching my formula. But that, I share that to say, that's how simple it is. When you go within instead of outward, when you look at your blueprint, see, your spirit may give you something to sell that the world has never seen. And your spirit may give you something that GMC, General Mills, Microsoft, all this, never thought about. And so, but if you don't spend time with yourself and hearing, you might come up with an airless soda bottle. And we ain't never heard of that. I remember my homeboy wanted to put an air conditioner on our bicycle. He wanted to create an air conditioner for the bicycle. We know mechanical engineers, so we know how to do it. And he just always had a different invention. He got an invention right now, something for working out, but don't have the money, don't have the capital, don't have the connection, don't have the resources to make it happen. But you got to think about that. And then so what you have to do is you got to be practical. A lot of people don't understand this. Is everything is doable. And what you have to understand is that everybody who has done something, they did it as a human just like you. So this car I'm in, there are websites like Upwork. Now, when y'all say something, I know sometimes y'all be in the comments, Tony, can you say that again? No, you just got to rewind the video. Just watch it again. You got to do the work. There's a site like Upwork, and then you have Fiverr. Fiverr is Fiverr, but Fiverr is like Fiverr like the man who sell stuff out the trench coat. Upwork is more like they got a storefront. So Fiverr, you gonna get real low level talent. Upwork, you gonna get seasoned professionals that really know what they're doing. So if I wanted to create me a car, I'm gonna go on Upwork and different sites like Upwork, and I'm gonna find me a mechanical engineer. I'm gonna go to Google and say, who designs a car? What is the job title of the person who designs a car? Who designs the mechanics of a car? And I'm gonna find those titles. Do you know those people that do this for GMC? I'm sitting in a GMC Yukon right now. You know the people who do that from GMC? They got proprietary stuff that they can't use for nobody else because they do it for GMC. But if you notice, every single car brand make cars similar. All the cars do the same thing. Gas pedal, gear shift. Gas and brake, gear shift. All of them do the same thing. The difference is just the body shape. That's just from somebody's mind, the design of the car. But all the cars work the same. So you could create your own car from scratch just by getting the pieces of the puzzle. You get somebody who designed the body. You get somebody who do the mechanics, mechanical engineer, whatever engineer. And so that's how I create everything in my life, is I reverse engineer it. And I go to the source. So one of the things about it, like this right here. This right here cord. This cord is made in China. This is a phone cord for the car. Now what do this cord do? It go right in here. Bada bing, bada boom. It go right in there. And then what do this do? This plug in my phone, right? Guess what? When you go on Alibaba, now if you need to do something special with this cord, what would you do to change this cord? What would your daughter do? Your son do? Your daughter will want to put some rhinestones on here. Your son might want to make it a different color, or he may want to put his favorite team logo, Tampa Bay Bucks. So what you need to do the Tampa Bay Bucks, you have to go to the NFL.com and go down, and you got to click on licensing, and you got to write into their licensing department, and you have to say, hey, we are a phone charger company, and we would like to put your team's logos on our products. What is it gonna take for us to license these logos? NFL gonna hit you back. They gonna let you know. Now, if you take and steal it, they may sue you. Once you start making millions, they may sue you, or they may never say nothing to you because they got bigger fish to fry. But if they sue you, guess what? Now that's time for negotiation. Well, we making all this money. We doing this. We didn't know. We tried to reach you. We couldn't reach you. So can we do a rev share? Instead of canceling these chargers with y'all team logos, can we do a rev share? NFL gonna say, you absolutely doggone can. We want 30%. We in business. Now, when you go on Alibaba, Alibaba, and you search USB iPhone charger, the factory who make these all the factories who make them, they're gonna come up. So now you can take and order them, but because they make them, they customize them. So they could make this right here any color. They could make it any color. So now you booming phone chargers right out the trunk. So anything you want to create, my wife's socks that y'all supported, I put it to the Blessed Tribe. I made those. It's a Pilates era. I went into an app. I chose a black background. I typed Pilates era, and then I swiped through all the different fonts until we found a font my wife liked. I saved that picture. I went into Alibaba. I typed yoga socks, not yoga, Pilates socks. All the factories came up. I wrote the one who had the highest star rating and all of that. I found out their MOQ, which is minimum order quantity. I reached and I asked them how much do they cost. Per sock, I can't remember what it was. Could have been $2, $3. And the other people selling those type of socks sell them for $20. So I listed it for $10. Because even at $10, that's still, every sock is a 300% return. And then instead of building a whole website on Shopify, I just created a listing on my already existing Etsy and got the link, shared the link with my audience. And some people bought the socks. Anything you want to create. And see, this is the thing. And now this is where we finna get a little deep now. This is where we finna get a little deep. And I want you to think about this. I want you to understand this. I want you to realize this. The where we finna get a little deep now is the reason why white people create everything in America is because that is how they've always made their, they capitalize, they've always made their brain work that way. From the time that they came and stole the land, massacred hundreds of thousands of Native Americans and stole the land, and then productized land. They literally took the land that your house lives on and created an infrastructure that you will never own God's land. Your country owns God's land, and you have to pay property taxes for eternity. And if you don't pay property taxes, you will lose the piece of God's land that you are on. And if there's any loopholes to that, only they know the loophole. They don't teach the loophole. And so what they had to do, now I just heard on the news this morning, Trump is trying to raise the tariffs on Mexico and Canada to like 25%, 30%. On China, only 10%. See, his buddies will not let him raise it. That's how China now. Cause hey, what? China make everything now. Hold on, DT. China make everything now. Hold on now. You know, we will not, Walmart will cease to exist. Target will cease to exist. Ralph's, every store in America will be shut down if you put them tariffs too high on China, because everything comes from China. Everything. Now, Mexico and Canada, I don't even know what tariffs got to do with them, because from Mexico, it probably like fruits and different type produce and stuff probably coming. But like all our hardware, like this right here, this come from China. This phone made in China. Like this car, man, I could buy this car out of China. I could buy this car from China. They making these in China too. Like you go on Alibaba, you can buy a Mercedes-Benz for $3,000. Now it might cost you the other cost to get it over here and try to get it legal, but they know how to make them. Everything, Nikes, everything. This hoodie come from China. Everything. This headrest come from China. This come from China. This here right here, this come from China. The material. Now they got factories now in America that's making this stuff, but the machines that they using to make this stuff was made in China. Everything come from China. So what China is, they developed their mind. They developed their mind, and they took and say, okay, we're gonna become the plug. So the Americans know how to capitalize and they know how to do business. We gonna take and be they plug because we smarter than them. So we gonna create the factories. We're gonna do this here engineering, and we're gonna produce. We're gonna produce all of this to them. So when you go on Alibaba, which is the big brother to AliExpress, you're gonna see all of your favorite clothing lines, independent clothing lines, and hair care, and all of them different companies. All their stuff come from China. Some of them you see the exact product on Alibaba. You see the exact product. All their stuff come from China. That's why when you get it, it smell like a machine working. Got a little, what is that? Interesting. Come out that factory from China. And so when you go on there, you could go to Alibaba and search booty scratcher, and you in a handle with them little four prongs come up that you get out of Home Goods to scratch your back. You get that right from China. Put rhinestones on it, put it on Etsy. Tell Etsy you made it. Boop, right there. You up, you in business. If you live in a city where you see because of the city you live in or where you live, there's a certain product that is booming, you can go and cut out the middleman, and you can get that product right off Alibaba. And what you're gonna notice when you start going to Alibaba, what you're gonna notice is, yep, them $200 jeans made in China. What you're gonna notice is, in the clothing industry, your clothes is like this hoodie cost me $200. Do you know how much this hoodie costs to make on Alibaba? This same exact hoodie, $15. $15. But we buy it because of the name brand. And do you know that this name brand, that China's selling this same name brand for $15? When you go on Alibaba, any brand you want to buy, they got the overstock. They got the overstock. Now, I bought this from out that store called Selman's, or what that store called in London? Selfridges. Selfridges. I bought this in Selfridges. They sell the name brand. Y'all don't make me repeat what I'm saying now. Listen to me now. These people gonna be looking for me. Nah, listen to what I'm telling you. When you go on Alibaba, you can search any brand you want to search, and they make it. Aloe, Lululemon, Aritzia, Zara. China make everything. So any business you want to start, you want to sell laptops, you could buy them right from Alibaba. Get what's it called? You could do metallic screen covers, metallic covers, all that. Look at Sierra. telling all the business. Say she got her Versace robe off Alibaba for $50. And that right there on Pop the Balloon, that site what I be saying to y'all, DH Gate, that's where all that stuff come from, China. DH Gate come from all China. Right there. And that's the same thing with like YouTube. You know who built YouTube and all these sites? Indians. Not Native Americans. India. When you go on Upwork, you can search app developer, website developer. Do never, any app, any website you want to create, never hire a white American. Never hire a black American. Always hire a Indian. You're gonna be on the phone with them. You're gonna be on Skype with them. You are barely going to be able to understand them because they roll all their words. They roll all the words. And they talk fast because they're extremely smart. Them Indians can build any site you dream of. They could build YouTube. And you know how much they will build YouTube for? They will build you a YouTube that's called MyTube for $5,000. And it'll work. It will work. I done did it. I done built so many apps with them Indians. They could do, and guess what? When I talk to them, they show me all the sites they building for the American companies. They show me the sites. They take me into the back end. Yeah, we built this right here. We built it. I say, oh, that's how they did that. Oh my goodness. So they around here acting like that, and they paid you $7.89 for that site. Yeah, we built it. They'll build it for you. And so what you have to realize is, see, they're trying to cut my live off. They said, man, he teach these black folks too much stuff now going on. And so that's why you have to start thinking. You got to start thinking. So I'm creating a site right now. And in the fintech, that means financial technology. In fintech, and guess who building it? The Indians. Because let me tell you what the Americans do. I remember talking to a white American. I say, so do you know how to code? He say, this the word they're gonna always use. They said, I know enough to be dangerous. One of these white guys then taught a course and used that term that say, I know enough to be dangerous. And that's what every white guy say when you on a call, on a sales call. I say, do you know how to code? He said, I know enough to be dangerous. You know what he know enough to do? He know enough to hire Indians. And then he know what the prices is. So there was a site that I went to him, to this white guy that somebody told me about. He was in California. He told me the site will be $50,000. It start at $50,000, but it'll probably cost up to $250,000. He the consultant. His team will build it. I went on Upwork and found an Indian company. They built it, I think, for $4,000. I never launched it. I done built 4 or 5 apps that I never launched. I just built it just to go through the experience. I just like to see it. I get up there, they put it on the app store. They got a little app on Apple called Test Flight. They put it in Test Flight. You download it. You go in there and play with it. Do everything. See it. I'm gonna release it one day. If I start to get broke, if I start to go broke, and I need to release it, I'm gonna release it. So this how you got to start thinking. You got to start thinking like they think. Because what they gonna do, they gonna take And hey, them Nigerians bad too now. Nigerians bad too now. Them Nigerians, they know how to do that computer stuff. There's a lot of Nigerians do that computer stuff too. It just, one thing about us with black folks, sometimes we gonna go ahead and now we gonna be the Yahoo boys. Instead of just using that ingenuity to do a call center, now we want to be the Yahoo boys and be scamming people out their money instead of just creating a call center and just doing a call center and making millions. But so when you use these sites, anything you want to build, you're gonna be able to build it. Lord bless them. Lord bless them. Lord bless them. Bless them. He got a growth on his jaw. He need to get surgery. And this how you got to start thinking. So spend 30 minutes a day talking to yourself and dreaming and visualizing. And then if you don't know what to do, then that's when you talk to somebody like myself. And I'm gonna tell you, the next scam is business consultants. So these business consultants will charge you $10,000 an hour. They'll charge you crazy prices. And all they doing is Googling. That's all they doing is Googling. That's the same, that's what Myron Golden doing to y'all. You paying $20,000, $50,000, $100,000, $150,000, $200,000, $250,000 for a mastermind to learn all Googleable information. It's crazy. It is crazy what's going on. You got to be careful. There's very few honest people in business. Very few. So whatever you want to hire for, you got to talk to at minimum three different people. 3 different people, you got to talk to them. And if all of them give you the same quote, that lets you know that's the industry standard. But then go a little deeper, talk to another 3 if you ain't feeling comfortable yet. Then whoever you want to go with, talk to references. Do your Google search. Look at their social medias. If they got videos and talking, listen to everything they saying. To feel their spirit. See what they have produced. See what they done produce. And you can find answers in Chat GPT. Now the thing about it is what you get from Chat GPT, you can't use it verbatim, so to speak, because what Chat GPT is basically just machine learning. So it's not giving you original answers. It's giving you answers from humans that have put it in a book or put it in an article or put it in a blog, and then they will combine it. The machine learning combines it. So it'll take a little bit from me, a little bit from you, a little bit from your mama, a little bit from my mama, and it'll take one sentence from each one of our paragraphs, and it'll put it all together to make it a new paragraph. And so you use it for like an idea generator, but then you still go into your stillness, and then you hear what you are given. And whenever you get ready to do something, always question the source. You got to really, like, if you hear a quote in your spirit, if you hear a plan in your spirit, anything you hear, Google it. Because the way the subconscious works is the subconscious, just like the guy Pat Flynn, who stole my proprietary process from Entrepreneurship with Purpose, he could have literally forgot where he heard it at. He could have forgot where he heard it and used it. It's a lot of speakers that have done that, have gone on tour, written books, using my quotes. Whole billion-dollar companies have used my quotes. And it just because it went viral online and it was just unclaimed because a thief stole it for his quote page or for his whatever page and shared it without my name so that his page would get a bunch of retweets.
so because he sells advertisements, so he would get a bunch of retweets, and then he would take and make money from it, and then my quote would be going around the world and back without my name on it. And then speakers would use it, and then I would reach out to the speakers because I knew them personally and say, hey, did you know that's my original quote? And they would be like, really? I didn't know that. I thought it was mine. But because I have blood in my ink, I know every one of my quotes because I know where I was and what I felt and what I was going through when I wrote it. And so I'll be able to share that. And so that's what I want you to do, because we overcredit everyone else and we discredit ourselves. And that's what you're gonna have to stop doing in this here 2025. You gotta stop overcrediting others and discrediting yourself, because you were born a billionaire. And I know people think that's cliche motivation, but you got to realize, like, look at the billionaires. They're not smart. They're no smarter than you. They just create from within. Like they just spent time and came up with an idea. Like, look at Jeff Bezos. This man just like to read books. So he wanted to have a website that just sell books, that you could just go and find a book. That's literally why he started Amazon. And it just, one thing led to the other. When you start putting one foot in front of the other, it creates something. Now, he had the base level knowledge of how to, code and how to do a website, or understood it enough, but then they just get the other people to help them out. And some people are raised just to be studious. So like with a lot of the Indian companies, they don't create their own software. A lot of them don't create their own software and site. They just will build what you tell them to build. But a lot of them don't build their own. And so that's why they say developers are not designers and designers are not developers. And it's very rare that you can meet a person that can do design, like user experience and user interface, and do coding on a high level. Do both of them on a high level. It's however you train your brain, that's what it gets accustomed to, and that's what it does. And it gets stronger in that area and it gets weaker in the other areas. And so you have to start spending time with yourself daily and identify your time of the day. In the 24 hours, don't feel strange if your time is 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 11 a.m. Whatever your time is, where your mind is firing on all cylinders, that's when you take and you channel that time, you hone in right there, and you create from that space. Create from that space every single day. And get a thing, get you a notebook, and you write down all your visions. And then when you write down your visions, your dreams, your ideas, then you use somebody else's system of pros and cons. Think about that now. Pros and cons. Somebody created that. But guess what? It works and we can't get around it. Now, we could say, okay, write down the good, write down the bad. Somebody created those two words. So you see what I'm saying? Pros and cons is a proprietary process. Somebody created that. So the pros is you write down all the good. And then the cons, you write down all the bad. Now, here's what you create. What you create is a grading system for the pros. So if I say, one of the pros of me doing YouTube is I can do it from anywhere. One of the cons is they can shut it down any day. So when I grade that, and then I look at my other job, if I say, okay, One of the pros of me working in the warehouse is I get benefits, health benefits. One of the cons is my salary is limited. Another con is I could be fired any day. Another con is I'm inhaling fumes and I'm gonna die early. So you see how I could think of them cons, but the only pro I could think of working in that warehouse is I got health benefits. But when I think of doing YouTube and I come up with, I could do it anywhere. I could work as hard as I want to work. My income is not capped. My income is determined by my output. I can never be fired from it. I can earn enough money to pay for health insurance. So now I got the pros and then I got the cons. Now you take, and with all your ideas, because here's the thing now, what you're going to realize, I'm going to get you ready for this. I'm going to prepare you for this. What you're going to have to realize is when you start spending time with yourself, y'all start arguing in the comments and listen. That's why I be having to turn the chat off. Because y'all able-bodied grown adults can't even listen to the lesson now. Y'all in the comments arguing. Like, come on now. How we telling our kids to be quiet in class and sit and be quiet in class, and we can't even be quiet in class as adults? It's like, come on now. Enjoy. Get on them now. I see you in here, moderator. Get on them, Joya. Time out all of them in here arguing. It's like, listen now, we trying, that's the work of the devil. I'm trying to make you $1 million now. So what you're gonna realize is when you start to create and you start to spend time going inwardly, what you're gonna find is that you're gonna have 1 million ideas. And then you're gonna be all over the place. And you're gonna say, man, that's so much I wanna do. It's so much I wanna do. Like, I wanna do this, I wanna do that, I wanna do this, I wanna do that. That's when you go to your pros and cons. And you take each one of them and you write out your pros and cons. And then that's when you go and you grade it. So if I say I get to spend time with my family, I need to be there for my kids. Like right now, me being an entrepreneur, I was able to fly up here yesterday. So I flew up here yesterday to North Carolina. I'm sitting here and there go my son right there. There go my son right out there, and I'm able to watch my son. So I'm watching my son while I'm changing lives. And I'm on YouTube and I work for myself. So if being there for my child is a pro, that might be worth 100 points to me. The thought that they could cancel YouTube at any day, that might be -50. But when I add up all the cons, doing YouTube my final score may be 1,000 points. So then when I put my next idea, which may be start a spaceship company, when I write the pros and write the cons, I might be -10,000. And then when I do my third one and my fourth one, so now what I'm teaching you is a proprietary process. This is something I created. So when you hear somebody say, this how you do this, and then you give it a point value, then you add up all the point value, they stole that from me. Because I never heard anybody say that. I never took anybody's course. This is what I made up for my clients and my students. So this is how I determine which thing I'm gonna do. Now somebody else probably created their own type of thing, like somebody had a SWOT analysis. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, or something like that. So somebody created a SWOT analysis. But SWOT analysis could also be for war, because you have strengths, you have weaknesses, you have opportunities of attack, and then you have threats. That could also be for war. That don't have to just be for business. But somebody created that. So I say that to say that it's not that great minds think alike. It's all minds that think alike. The problem with humans is we don't think.
We just want to be taught. And we don't spend time to create. But once you start creating, it's addicting. And once you learn and you train your brain how to create, let me tell you what happened. I developed that muscle. So yesterday I was supposed to fly to Ohio to meet with one of my mentees who is a professional soccer player. He had a meeting with the mayor of his city because he wants to do some training and need like some land or facility in the city. So he went to meet with the mayor. I told him my son had a district championship game Thursday, and he said, bro, you don't need to miss your son game, because I was gonna skip my son game because I hadn't committed to help him, because you know my son gonna get to play a lot more games. And yeah, it was district championship, but it's high school soccer. He played club soccer, so sometimes it's give and take. And this was a much bigger deal, somebody going to meet with somebody of an opposite race. He's from another country, and going to meet with an opposite race to acquire some land or a facility. That was a big deal. So when I waited, I said, you know what, I'm gonna go to his meeting. And my son was okay with it. He not that, you know, he don't trip. But then when I told my client, I said, I'm gonna put it out there, because if he tell me I don't have to come, that means that it's not that serious, that he maybe want to go along, and that to him, me going to my son's game means more. So I told him, so I stayed home. But I said, do you need me to put anything together for you that you could present? He said, bro, if you could, yes, I would. And I would like that. I went on Canva and I grabbed 2 templates, and I had just had a conversation with one of my colleagues about some of the terminology and the lingo that you use when you building a nonprofit. I remembered that terminology, and I put it into bullet points of what we want to do for the youth. And I put it on there and I shot it over to him, and he was just like, wow, this is amazing. He said, man, how in the world did you do this? How did you do this so fast? But the thing about it is, when you train your brain to be resourceful and to create, I just went on Canva and I typed in soccer camp flyer, and then it brought up flyers for soccer camps, and it had bullet points, and it was just saying like what they're gonna be doing at that camp. And I just touched it, hit delete, and typed in a new thing like youth empowerment, you know, daily exercise, on-field instruction. So I just came up and I just deleted what they had and just put what we were gonna do and sent it to them. But it already was designed. It already had stock photos on it. It already had a color scheme. And I just clicked and changed it, clicked and changed it, clicked and changed it. And then boom, I sent them 2 different ones. And then I made another one that said, you know, our needs, his academy, our needs. And we just put, you know, business support, corporate sponsorship, land and or facility, and it just bullet point list. Now that same one sheeter could be turned into a 50-page proposal. But when you're going into a meeting, just having the key things that you need on that one sheeter, that's all she needed to see. So when she see that, she really don't need a proposal. She know the city got land. She know the city got buildings. So now that I see that you did this, she may ask for a proposal just to go through the motions, but she can move the button. And so I say this to say, every single day, spend a minimum of 30 minutes dreaming, visualizing, planning, thinking, and then create your process of elimination or your process of production. And everything that you do, turn it into a process, because the way whoever raised you, the way that they move, the way that they think, the way that they do things, that is a proprietary process. But what we don't think to do is we don't give it a name. So, and I learned this in a course, but I had to learn so much in the first third or first half of the course. I ain't even finished the course because I can't do too much learning, because I take $1 and turn it into 1,000. So if I do too much learning, it explode. It will literally explode my brain. So I took what I learned in that course and then boom, was able to sell it for $6,000 in a coaching program. And the course cost me $1,000. So that $1,000 investment, the idea that I got, because what the guy was teaching, I can't remember his name, but he sold from the stage at this I think he had a company called Campfire or something like that. And what his whole thing was teaching is teaching you to create proprietary processes and how much money proprietary processes can make you. So my proprietary process is called the gap process. Yours might be called the helium process. It might be called the arm process, the black process. GAP stands for gifts and purpose. And what I do in the proprietary process is I help you bridge the gap between your gifts and your purpose. So just by sitting with myself for 5 minutes, I came up with the gap process. And then I went to trademark it. So now I can take and create a mastermind or a coaching program called the gap process. Now I have a program, but I just call it the year of coaching. I wasn't thinking when I created it, the year of business coaching. And it's $10,000 for the year. And I take my clients and we have 16 hours of consulting. I promote whatever they create. I promote it to my audience. They have text message access, and I walk them through step by step. So whether we on Alibaba, whether we find a mechanical engineer, whether we hiring a graphic designer, a web developer, a coder, and I walk them through step by step. And whatever they want to do, I reverse engineer it and hold a hand, and we walk through the process to create them a business that they can have for the rest of their life. And I only charge $10,000 for that. Now, for less than that, Grant Cardone charged $400,000. For less than that, Myron Golden charged $500,000. The reason why I charge $10,000 is because I know other men out here who don't know more than me charging hundreds of thousands. Because I want to make it clear to my client that I'm giving you my time, but I'm giving you 10x value what I'm charging you. Because that's why I say one of the biggest scams is business consulting. Because these people is charging tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, some $1 million to teach you Googleable information. Now, I understand that Google is not the end all be all, because you could Google something, but if you don't know how to apply what you just read, then it's meaningless. So that's what I do with my clients, but I don't put them in a group. It's one-on-one. So this $10,000 program is one-on-one. I got a client that went and paid Myron Golden $20,000 to be in a group. And then he didn't even teach it. His daughter taught it. So at that point, I'm just like, well, I don't know what's worse. I don't know if he's smart or you dumb. I don't know what's worse. I don't know if him charging that to let his inexperienced, non-knowing daughter teach you something for $20,000, or if it's your fault for signing up. I got clients who sign up for that. One of them did $50,000. But then they will come to me and want a discount on my $10,000. I said, Lord, make it make sense out here, Lord. Lord, help me understand something. So guess what? I have to raise them prices, because that's another thing that we've been duped. We have been duped. So how we've been duped is we believe, and this is where the ignorance thing come up, is we believe the more someone charges, the more valuable the information. That's one of the biggest mistakes in the world. Because the stuff at the Dollar Tree and the Dollar General and the dollar store work the same way as the stuff at Target and Walmart. But you getting it for a way better price at the Dollar Tree. So why would you go to Target and Walmart when you for the products that the Dollar Tree sell? They work and do the same thing. So when I was doing my events, I was touring, and we had to create a swag bag. I went right to the Dollar Tree. I right at the Dollar Tree, and the Dollar Tree sell little bags, and they had the little bags with the little handle, and I buy me a stack of 100 of them. I get me a stack of 100 of them, and then they got pens. Buy up all the pens, and they got notepads. Get up all the notepads. They sell bags of peppermints. Get up all the peppermints. Get little things of candy. I mean gum. All that. Boom. There go the swag bag. You got a pen. You got a notepad. Now, had I went to Target or whatever, I would have paid 10x that, and I'd be out of there. Boom. Bam. Just like that. $100. Sending them swag bags right out Dollar Tree. Cut the middleman out. Now, I'm gonna tell you, I learned about cutting the middleman out from being a drug dealer. See, that's the thing, is you don't have to go that route, but you got to get the lessons. See, the reason why white people have taken and capitalized on everything and monetized everything, because they came into America and stole from the Native Americans, and then they had to turn America into a business. And so their mind don't think how to be a slave. Their mind think how to own slaves. But when you are sold into slavery and you become a slave, you only think of how to be a servant, how to be a slave, how to be a worker. You don't think how to be a owner. So instead of making a human your slave, make your pen your slave, make your computer your slave, make your whatever your slave. But you got to go into a different mentality. You got to shift your mindset to go from being, oh, let me just be a worker and be on this dead end job. And you got to start thinking, how can I come up off this job? What do I need to do? Joya just put my quote, create something you cannot be fired from. What do I need to do? So when I was working a job, I worked a job from 22 to 27. That's my only corporate experience I'm 40 years old. My only corporate experience from the age of 22 to the age of 27. And while I was working that job, I would work 40 hours for them, and then I would work 40 hours for me. Outside of that job, I was creating, writing books, creating courses, creating coaching programs, modalities, 4-week coaching program, 8-week coaching program, 12-week coaching program, and I'll steal their time. While I was on there with them, y'all go get my book, The Dream Chaser. She forgot me about it. It's on Audible too. Yeah, get The Dream Chaser. Now I tell you my whole story in there. While I was working for them, I'll steal their time. See, we'll be a slave on a job, and we'll bust our butt on that job, and they'll replace us in a millisecond. So how I stole their time is I had this right here. When did you rest? It's 168 hours in a week. So if I work 40 for them and 40 for me, it's still another 88 hours in a week. That's what I rest. So you got to realize, but what you got to realize is rest is productive, but not all work is physical. So you could be laying on your back and dreaming and daydreaming on your way to sleep. And then when you start to wake up out your sleep, that's a space that I heard something where they saying certain men, it was these certain thinkers that they created all their greatest ideas in that space of right when you wake up. and you kind of come into consciousness, but you're not all the way up. They say that's where all their greatest ideas came. For me, it's the opposite. It's right when as I'm going to sleep. I dream my way to sleep. And so I'll be sitting and I'll be thinking, and I'll dream my way to sleep. No, I'm visualizing, I'm dreaming, and I'm seeing on my way to sleep. And then I will a lot of times have to jump up, and I have to push my sleep back, and I have to cut it off, and I have to jump up. And then when I jump up, I got to go right to my laptop, and I create something. Boom, 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 boom. And then that email you get from me at 6 a.m. A lot of times the email you got from me that you get at 6 a.m. I set it to go out at 6 a.m. But it was wrote at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. the night before. And that program that you in, that course that you in, that master class that you in on Saturday, the Saturday school you was in, created the day before. And right there. So you visualize and then you activate. You visualize and you create. We're gonna go up to about 20 more minutes. I got to get ready to go here in a little bit. Well, I ain't got to go nowhere. I can sit here and watch. What a blessing, what a blessing. But oh, they doing small sided now. I'm backing up. And so you visualize and you create, and every single day go through this process. Every day do this, and take that time and go through, write, and then reverse engineer your idea. Use Google. Before you pay a dime for anything, make sure that you vet it 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different ways. It's so many people that come to me and be like, Tony, I paid this person $10,000 and I got nothing. I paid this person $10,000. I paid this person $7,000. I paid this person $12,000. I had a life coach certification, and I don't know how much it costs right now. I think maybe $1,500 or $2,000. I've had people come hire me to learn how to be a life coach after they've paid $12,000 for a certification program. Now, I've earned millions of dollars as a life coach, and so I understand the industry inside and out, and I understand that anybody can be a coach, but not everybody has integrity. And so I created a training program that is full of integrity, a training program that teaches you let me see something here, what you need to know about life coaching, and also teaches you right in the course that life coaching certification is not required. It is only recommended. So people are selling life coach courses for $10,000, $12,000, $8,000, $20,000, $30,000, and it's not even required. But they never tell you that. And there's no city in America that requires you to have a life coach certification to open up a life coaching business or office. But they don't tell you that. So they scam you out your money because they see you got a dream, and so they make you think that you have to go through them. A lot of people don't realize that the International Coach Federation, IFC, has no power. That is not a governing body. They have no power. They can't shut you down. They can't stop nothing. They can't open nothing up. And you can go start ICF tomorrow. Tomorrow. It's a non-profit organization. And they have curriculum, and they have trainings, and they have organization and structure, but they have no regulating power because life coaching is not regulated like therapy. So it is the wild, wild west. So once again, a white man created ICF because he said, here is an opportunity, and there's no threats because this is an unregulated space. So I got all these strengths, really have no weaknesses other than Tony Gaskin telling my business.
got a bunch of opportunity and no threats. So when he did his SWOT analysis, it's a go. Then what they did, they created a board, they built the board, and they made it international. They spent a lot of money on search engine optimization, SEO. They spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on search engine optimization so that when you Google how to become a life coach, ICF comes up at the top. And so because of learning how to use the internet, they come at the top. And because we respect Google and Google searches, we know that them pages on the first page, the companies on the first page are the most visited, the most traffic, all of that. That's what we assume. So people start to say, oh, ICF must be the authority. So now you see coaches putting ICF accredited. It don't mean nothing. They probably can't even scratch their booty right. It don't mean a lick of thing. The coach could be broke his 2 left ankles. Don't mean nothing. But they get that badge. And it's the same thing as your empty college degree that ain't making you no money. It's the same thing as some of y'all master's degree that ain't making you no money. Same thing as some of y'all doctorate that ain't making you no money. And then you'll come over here and you'll see somebody who I earn you and ain't got a single college degree. You know why? Because I had to shift my mindset. I had to go from slave, worker, servant, indentured servant mentality to ownership mentality. I'm finna own. I'm finna pimp this pen. I'm finna pimp this laptop. I'm finna work. I'm finna use my gifts. I'm not finna let somebody else just keep using my gifts and owning my gifts and owning all of that. I'm finna use it for me. And I'm finna build. And this is what you got to realize and understand. You're gonna have to go within and then produce from within. And that's when you're gonna start to see things change. And so realize and understand. My battery dying. Okay, so I see they got who they want over here. And the coach is sitting there watching. Oh, okay. No, the head coach over there look like the head coach watching my son game. Gotta stay crunk up now. Gotta stay in that thing now. And so my phone about to die. So I want you to think about this. Now we gonna be doing some of this teaching in the singles masterclass, but it'll be bonus lessons with Q&A. So but we really preparing for healthy relationships in there, healthy love, and doing the real work that these podcasts is trying to teach, but they don't know how to teach because the host and none of the guests have it. So they basically just stealing y'all money and wasting y'all time when you at listening to these podcasts and going to their live events. So in the singles masterclass, you finna get the real of what it really gonna take to not only get married but to stay married. And that's on TonyGastinsAcademy.com. And it's a one-time sign-up fee. Now I ain't charging Myron Golden prices. It's a one-time sign-up fee, but also a lot of people can't afford that. But I had to do that because I need to get people who's single and ready. So if you can't afford it, then that means you got other steps to do. That means you got to implement everything that you learned here today so that you can get your bag up so that you can afford that little nominal fee. Because you're not ready for a relationship if you can't afford that. So, and I made it that dirt cheap, that price though, for the full year masterclass, because other people charging 25, 50, 100 times that amount. But that's a prerequisite. So some people look, oh, well, why? Well, Tony, why is $1,000? Because you're supposed to be looking for love, not looking for help. So if you can't touch 1K, you don't need to be thinking about no relationship. Don't even let an iota of a relationship hit your brain. You need to be thinking about a job, a career. You need to be thinking about entrepreneurship. How you going to make some money? some money on. Do not come in, because we don't want you in the masterclass with your hand out. Yeah, is anybody gonna be able to help with my rent? Today is the first, and being that we all in a group, I ain't even giving no discounts. And guess what? Now this is an unfortunate truth, but I'm gonna share it. Several single men. I sent the singles masterclass to several single men. Guess what? They can't afford it. They want a wife, but they can't afford it. So that let me know. So now it makes sense to me when guys say, "Well, I got to work on my finances." And I used to say they're making excuses, but now I have to say, you know what, brother, you right. Because if you ain't got 1,000, how you gonna take care of wife? How's you gonna take care of wife? Because my wife spend $500 a day on Amazon. So we take care of Jeff Bezos. So I'm like, what? And it ain't just be frivolous. It just be everything the house need, everything the boys need. She just don't cut no corners. She get everything. And I'm be like, every time I go into the car, I'm like, my goodness, Lord. I'm like, this woman spend more money than I can make. I'm like, she spend it faster than I'm making it. So then I'm like, okay, let me get back on. Let me send another email, man. Hey, y'all sign up for this masterclass, man. Wife, tearing the Amazon up. I have to tell her, like, baby, what is this on Amazon? Well, the boys needed new electric toothbrushes. Listen, they can't use no standard toothbrush. Baby, what did you spend $278 on today? We needed new containers for the pantry. I'm like, I said, you know what I'm finna do? I'm finna get on Alibaba, order all the stuff that my wife be ordering, start an Amazon storefront, and send her the link and be like, hey, this is an amazing storefront. Like, they got all this container stuff, they got all the coconut oil mouthwash stuff, they got all the tongue scraper stuff, they got all the blue light glasses. That's the kind of stuff she be ordering. They got all this and all that. This is amazing. Hey, let's shop with them. That's what I'm finna do, so that my money be coming right back to me. But I say that to say, yeah, take it from a 7-figure life coach. The whole game, everything is in there. If you feel like you need training, if you already know what you're doing, crank it up. Create your offering, create your program, create your service. You can go right on mymentor.life and sign on up. It have where you got to upload a certificate. Just upload a picture of yourself. You know, that's a little secret trick to get on the site. But have a real picture. Don't waste your time and your money on mymentor.life. And when you sign up, you got to fill out your whole. Okay, well, that my son take that shot. Yeah, good shot, boy. Is that my son? I think so. So don't waste your time and your money signing up on mymentor.life if you haven't taken a good headshot. At least a portrait mode on a nice cell phone. Oh, yeah, sorry about that. My wife was calling me. Y'all, sorry about that. So I got to call her, because I told her to call when she get home and get settled from soccer practice. So got to get on off here. And get on the TonyGassonAcademy.com. Got the life coach certification. What I was saying is, don't go spend $8,000, $10,000 on the course from somebody who ain't made no career or had any success as a coach, and all their success is selling you a course, and they ain't got no clients barely, and that's what these people is doing. And if you know what you're doing, then go ahead and just start your business. You don't need the training. But if you need the training,
go to TonyGastonAcademy.com. And I got over 80 courses on TonyGastonAcademy.com. I'm gonna start unarchiving them because I got them hidden because I did new courses at the end of last year. But I got over 80 courses on there. And the same way I taught here today, that's the same. I'm just giving you meat and potatoes in the courses. It ain't a bunch of fluff, ain't a bunch of homework, ain't a bunch of stuff to make it feel like you getting value for your money. I'm giving you meat and potatoes. It ain't no side salad, ain't no breadsticks, ain't no croutons, ain't no clam chowder. It is a nice old ribeye and a big old baked potato, and it's a vegan ribeye if you vegan. But get on there. But hey, God bless you, and we'll talk soon.